Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Afika, and I will be your MC for today. We would like to offer our sincere gratitude to everyone present here today to attend this session. And without further ado, I would like to invite Mr. Fong Chuk Fook for his presentation.
뭐야, 소독해? 창문 닫아.
나도 봐. 공짜로 집안에 소독도 하고.
부모님 얼굴도 뵙고 좋더라. 건강들 하시고.
일거리가 없으셔도
네가 내 대신 얘 과외 선생님 좀 해줘라. 영어.
대학생인 척하라는 거야?
구라를 좀 치지 뭐.
넌 이 좋은 실력으로 왜 미대는 맨날 떨어지냐?
아이씨, 죽을래.
저는 이게 위조나 범죄라고 생각하지 않아요.
참으로 시의적절하다. 부자들이 원래 참 잘 속아. 사모님이 뭐랄까.
풀타임으로 수업 어떻게 하시는지. Is it okay with you? 우리 다송이는 완전 예술가 재질인데.
침팬지를 그린 거죠?
자화상이에요.
역시.
그동안 미술쌤도 여러 명 바꿔가면서 해봤는데요.
제가 사람 하나가 휙 하고 떠올랐는데
아 잠깐. 제시카 외동딸 일리노이 시카고 과선배는 김치모 그는 이사촌.
부자인데 착하다니까.
진짜 니가 착한 거지. I'm deadly serious.
근데 지금 진짜로 이상한 게 뭔 것 같아.
Hello everyone. Today we're going to talk about the story of Parasite. Do you know that such story do exist in real world? And more than once, we've come across many incidents that have lead us to discover the existence of parasites. Now, of course, the parasite what we're referring to are not the real human parasite, but it's pretty close. What the parasite that we're referring to are hackers. Hackers who hack into organizations and who hide themselves, who stay dormant and persistent, remain persistent within our organizations. So today I'm going to elaborate to you how we can identify this parasite who lives inside our network. My name is CF Fong. I'm the CEO and founder of LGMS. LGMS is a specialized IT security testing and assessment firm based in Asia. We specialize in providing ethical hacking, penetration testing, computer crime investigation, and digital forensic. So today I would like to share with you a little something about what we have learned over the years on compromise assessment. At LGMS, we're always active in providing computer crime investigation and digital forensics to our customers worldwide. So I would like to share with you a real story that just happened back in March this year. A financial institutions in Malaysia was under a ransomware attack. So most of the files, servers, and computers on their primary site was actually encrypted by the ransomware. No, so the situation was so severe and the impact was so big to the point that even the secondary site that connect to the primary site will also get affected. So the backup data, the backup servers are also equally infected by the same ransomware. So we were called in to do the investigation for the financial institutions. So we started by looking at the network logs. We started by looking at the server logs. So to our surprise, we found out that from the network logs, there were already signs of intrusions, signs of exfiltration of data that is dated back in 2018. That means 3 years ago from the time that we were doing computer crime investigations. So the hacker, in a way, was already in the financial institutions for more than 3 years. And and they have been doing whatever work they have been doing, which we have no idea yet during that point of time. So upon deeper investigation in the digital forensic process, then only we realize there's something even more surprising. There was another group of hackers who just happened to find out the loopholes inside the banking system and hacked in 3 months ago, and they were the ones who launched the ransomware attack to the financial institutions. So in this case, there were actually more than a group of hackers who hacked into the bank. Only the last group of hackers happened to be the one who deployed the ransomware and to attack the bank. So sometimes when you look at it, right, when someone deploy a ransomware attack, it is the time that the victim get to know. So it is a 50-50 chance for the hackers to whether they can collect their money or not. The scarier part of the hacking is those hackers who do not launch any clear and imminent attack. And those hackers who decided to stay dormant, who hide themselves within the network, who start exfiltrating data and study the workflow within the organizations, these are the hackers that we should be worried about. And these are the hackers who happen to be more and more prevalent, and we happen to see many of these type of hackers who do not launch ransomware attack, who do not launch web defacement on the victim, but instead they choose to stay dormant, they choose to stay persistent within the network of the victim, and from staying persistent, they can exfiltrate data, they can start learning the workflow, the process, even the business of the client, of the victim. So these are the group of hackers that we should be worried about. And today, many hacking incidents, I would say by to date, 99.999% of the time when we go into the computer crime scene or a site that was affected by ransomware, most of the time we will be able to find hackers like this who stay dormant or persistent within the victim's network. So this is something that I think all industries should be worried about, because many of these cases never get reported to the media. And without these incidents being reported to the media, this is the time we will still do not have the visibility or even awareness to look for these kind of hackers. That's why compromise assessment is starting to emerge as one of the very key critical success factor in order to identify hackers or hidden elements within our infrastructure. So let's come to the major topic of the day. What is compromise assessment? A compromise assessment is basically an exercise to help you to identify whether their network security or your systems have been compromised or not. So potentially compromises within your organizations can be discovered from identifying footprints left by attackers, suspicious attack indicators in your network, and to the discovery of abnormal usage of computer resources. The presence of unwanted guests will threaten the security of your organizations. Once the attackers are in your network and systems, it is very difficult to predict when are they going to make the next move. They may be staying dormant or could be actively exfiltrating critical data asset from your organizations. Now, as long as they decided to stay persistent or hide within your network, they will remain as a threat. Any unauthorized activities can bring tremendous financial losses and damages to your companies. So conduct effective CA compromise assessment may provide the assurance that your environment is clean. So what's the difference between compromise assessment and vulnerability assessment? Now, we have been doing vulnerability assessment all our lives, right? We do annual VA and even penetration testing several times a year. So what's the difference between compromise assessment and vulnerability assessment? So vulnerability assessment basically focusing on weaknesses of specific subjects, whereas compromise assessment hunt for any signs of potential of evidence of compromises within your entire infrastructure. So just imagine this. Imagine that your infrastructure as your house. So vulnerability assessment will check for security of your doors, windows, and even the design of our fence. But whether or not there are any rodents or pests living inside the house, we will not be able to tell, because vulnerability assessment only focusing on testing the effectiveness of the control security. For example, the door locks or windows locks, whether there are any weaknesses on our door or our windows. Now, in order to find out if there are any unwanted rodents or pests living inside our house, we need to apply compromise assessment. We will need to check behind the walls, under the floor tiles, space in between the roof and ceiling, even the pipes under the kitchen sink. Hunt for any unwanted rodents and pests. Now, the same analogies apply to professional compromise assessment on business infrastructure. A professional compromise assessment shall be covering all angles of a business infrastructure, from endpoints, network devices, servers, network printers, IoT devices, and even more. So vulnerability assessment and compromise assessment both serve a different purpose of security scanning. So engaging a professional cybersecurity consultant to carry out specific tasks to meet your organization's business objective. So next, what are the skills required in order to do a proper compromise assessment? Now, speaking from our experience, in order to do compromise assessment is always part of the exercise that we conduct as the end of the digital forensic. Because at the end of the digital forensic, we were able to identify the root cause of the attacks, and the next thing we need to do is to identify whether the hackers are still hiding within the victim's infrastructure or not. That is the time when we will carry out compromise assessment and threat hunting. So compromise assessment is a fusion of both manual and automated analysis work. Software alone is not enough to identify compromise assessment or any signs of compromise. So we need human intelligence to uncover even the tiniest piece of clue during compromise assessment to ensure that we do not miss out any potential hidden threats. Now, just to reiterate myself, during our course of assessment and during our course of performing computer crime investigations, we have witnessed many cases where hackers who remain to be persistent within the infrastructure, they will always find different ways to hide themselves within the infrastructure, either by creating backdoors, even hijacking on valid user accounts. So only engage professional assessors who have extensive experience, particularly in incident response, threat hunting, digital forensic, malware analysis, to carry out compromise assessment for you. Organizations are recommended to have the following in place in order to have an effective compromise assessment: endpoint detection and response software, EDR software, network detect and response software or hardware, logs from security incidents and event monitoring systems, SIEM, network architecture diagram, your Active Directory configuration and settings, past incident records, etc. So an effective compromise assessment shall cover all angles of hiding points of potential hackers. This basically means that we will cover different layers of infrastructure, from network, applications, servers, even study the past events that happen within the infrastructure. There will be utilization of a combination of commercial and proprietary tools to make compromise assessment complete. So be careful not to be misled by vendors who advocates by bringing in different brands of EDR software into your environment, particularly the vendors who also happen to be the reseller of such EDR products. In this case, their intention is very obvious. How do I select a compromise assessment vendor? Now, I would like you to imagine this. What happens when your doctor is not really a doctor? Imagine that you want to see a doctor and then you want to perform a comprehensive health check on your health and to get explanation from the doctor. But instead, your doctor is only interested in promoting his direct selling food supplement for you. Now, should you be worried? I guess everyone would have the same answer. You should be absolutely worried, because in any form of fair assessment, the assessor shall always be free from being a product or solution representative. This is to provide the highest level of assurance to the client that whatever advice and recommendations provided by the assessor shall always be true to the client's need, right? So the assessor opinion shall always be objective, neutral, and product agnostic. This is only possible when the assessor does not have any affiliations in selling products and solutions that directly relating to the assessment work. Now, critical points to remember. Cybersecurity assessment providers shall always be free from any form of representation for security products or solutions in order to remain critical, unbiased, and truthful to the client. When someone recommends your organization must install certain brands of product, antivirus, software, or EDR software, then you have to really weigh the necessity. If the other party who recommends you to buy the software or buy the solutions are really intend to sell products for you, or they have really intention to help you to do a proper scan onto your infrastructure. So always engage neutral experts who do not sell any security products or solutions to be your assessor. With this, I would like to conclude my presentation today. Thank you so much for spending time to going through the presentation together with me, and big shout out to Cydesk for organizing such an amazing event. So if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us. Until then, thank you very much.